Spider Slayer, getting ready to do paid. This is episode 2. That's right, fans. This is the video where each and every week, or the live stream, where I make a decision if you should pay for the book or if you should slay the book. Now, just because it says paid or slay it on the title doesn't always mean if there's a book that I don't like, I'm going to slay every single book. Okay? People get that misconception I'm here just to tear up comics. And Legend Storm says, hey, let's pay it or slay it. That's not the case, okay? Just to get it clear right from the start, if there's a book that's absolutely, completely craptacular and I hate it, yes, I will tear it up, okay? Because what's going to happen with that book in the future? Possibly sell it for a quarter. I could throw it in the garbage to get rid of, to purge some books, or whatever the case, or I might give it to the friend anyway. So what I do with that comics once I buy them, it's totally up to me. But I'm not here to destroy these comic books. I save most of them, okay? So just that little thing out of the way. So I read so far 16 books. I have 19 books altogether that I'm going to read, but I just didn't get a chance to finish reading them. So I have from my top to my worst, but that's not what this video series is about. So what I do is I have my books, okay? And they're already in order from my favorite to the worst. And what I'm going to do is I just mix them, okay? Here we go. We're going to mix these books up. And what's going to happen is you're not going to know which books I'm going to talk about, right? And I'm not going to know which books I'm going to talk about. It's going to be good. The case may be, I'm still mixing them. I have no idea what books they're going to be. There's going to be 10 books that we talk about, and we're going to either pay for those books or we're going to slay those books off your pull list, okay? So here we go. All right, so I'm grabbing. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. These books here, whatever they are, they don't count. They go over here for now. And now we have 10 books that we're going to talk about. Were you going to pay it? Or are we going to slay it? All right. So, welcome the few people that are actually on right now. Hopefully you guys, as the time goes on, you'll get to watch. And I'm sorry if this video is mirrored. I can't seem to fix the setting on how not to broadcast where it's not mirrored, unless you guys see it normal on your end. I don't know. I tried doing different types of settings and stuff like that, and I can't seem to figure it out. So when I do it like this, it just flips the camera around. So I don't know. But hopefully it doesn't distract you anyway. All right, so moving forward. The first book that we're going to talk about on Pay It or Slay It is, bam, Weapon H, issue 7. Now, I started reading Weapon H, again in issue number 6. And we get to see these creatures that are coming through this, I don't know, this zone, this weird portal that Roxxon is doing, and we get to see Captain America join the fight with Weapon H. And you know what they have in common? They are soldiers, because, you know, Clay, he actually joined the military, and Captain America is a soldier. And so you get to see them do these battles against these crazy creatures from Weird World. But what made this book a little bit entertaining, okay, a little bit entertaining, not all that much, is that we get to see a little bit of back history with Clay in this issue, about how his father beat him and how Captain America was the hero where his dad wasn't, okay, because his dad wasn't there for him. So that was kind of an interesting story. And we get to see how obviously it led up from his childhood to his adulthood, how Captain America inspired him to actually join the military. And I thought that was kind of a cool concept there. I thought it was pretty neat. And we get to see, obviously, Weapon H, how he feels like, you know, he's been made into this killing machine, which he really shouldn't be at this point. He just wants to be more than that, okay? And so he takes this job with Roxxon to go to Weird World to see what's going on, what's behind the whole situation, okay? But again, at the end of this book, we get to see the signing of Clay when he first joined the military, and I thought that was kind of cool. So what did I think about Weapon H? Hey, let's pay it or slay it. Spider Slayer, what's up, brother? What's up, Frank? Nice to see you again. All right, thank you for watching. Got 5 people watching. 2 thumbs up, guys. If you're watching, give it a thumbs up, and I'll give you a shout out. Keep shouting out in those comments there. So Weapon H, issue 7. At the end of the day, if you like this Hulkarine, or whatever you want to call it, and you feel like you're a little bit vested in this story, you know what? I'm going to say pay for it. It's not bad. I feel like it can be better. My only issue with this is, where do you see... Thank you for giving another thumbs up. I have 4 thumbs up now. Thanks, guys. And so the only thing I can say about this book is that, do you feel vested in this? Do you feel like you can read Weapon H for the long term? If you feel like there's not going to be a real solid plan going forward with this book, then, you know, I say slay it. Take it off your pull list. Legend Storm says, I've never even seen Weapon H. It didn't really pique my interest. And I can understand that. I mean, when we did the Weapon X storyline, I thought Greg Pak introduced this character really well. What's up, Spider Slayer? Digging the videos, brother. Thanks, Brett. Thank you for watching. But yeah, so it's okay. It's not the greatest. Again, I don't see where the story can go in the long term, where it's going to be like blowing people's minds away. And I also think that the artwork could be a little bit better in this book. When it was Weapon H, it looked pretty good, and I think Greg Land did the artwork back then as well. So yeah, here you can see that artwork. So Weapon H, issue 7, you know, for now, I say pay for it. Go out there, pick up the book. But if you're looking for something in the long term and you don't know anything about Weapon H, then I would say skip it. All right. So we have Frank, who says, art looks awesome, but not something I'd invest in. Too many other titles to buy. See, that's the thing. There's so many other titles, you know, and it's hard to make a decision. Weapon H is a cool character, but he needs a real killer storyline. And I agree with Brett there on that comment. Does need a good storyline. Really needs probably a focus, a really main enemy that's going to make that character shine, right? Okay, not some guest star like Captain America. Immortal Hulk was great. Yes, Immortal Hulk is good. All right, so let's talk about the second book this week. All right, so the second one is, bam, Red Hood and the Outlaws. This was issue 26. So we get to see Jason taking a new direction, because obviously his comrades have fallen into a different world, and we've got to see that based off of the annual. Now, the annual is a really light type of book, you know, and it got us kept up of what was going on with Jason and with all the other characters in there. We got caught up with Arsenal, and at the end we get to see him separate from Arsenal, and he winds up getting on the bus. And this book actually kind of continues where that last left off. But right away, what happens with Red Hood and the Outlaws is that Jason Todd just like flips a switch automatically, and this book becomes very I felt darker than what it's usually been. And for me, this issue, I wasn't really keen on the change. So you get to see him on this bus, okay? He's riding the bus, and the next thing you wind up seeing is you see this FBI agent who's on the floor, and you get to see Red Hood, who's just wearing his hoodie, and you don't get to see his face. They make him like this mystery guy, like we've never seen him before. You know what I'm saying? And he's on the, you know, she's on the floor, and then all of a sudden it's like these people are trying to get in touch with the feds and trying to get him the Fed, and then obviously Red Hood has got to actually try to save the day, you know. And the next thing you see, he starts beating people up and whatnot. I'm on board with Red Hood. And Brett also says, great B cover. Yeah, this is a beautiful cover. So I was happy to get one. This was the only one that was left on the stands. But we get to see Red Hood try to save the day, fight some Baker gangs, stuff like that. We find out that obviously he's like a wanted person. He's this vigilante that we know. We get to see him wear this new mask. Like, what does the mask do? Like, I want to know, what does this do? Does it make him breathe better? Does it protect his mouth? Does it protect his nose? Like, what's the point of it? And then to protect his head, he just wears a hoodie? That's kind of lame. I'm sorry. That is my personal opinion. That is lame. Oh, well, I have something that protects my mouth, or I can't breathe that good because it's going to go on my nose, and then I have nothing to protect my head. To me, that just isn't, guys, that doesn't make sense. Chime in if you feel like if I'm right on that situation. But we get to see just the gang again. If this issue, out of all the issues I've read recently of Red Hood and the Outlaws, this just felt generic to me. Okay, he comes out with a crowbar. Where does he keep the crowbar? We don't see that. He wears it under the hoodie? I don't know. He hits people with baseball bats. He just is a pure vigilante in this particular issue, and I just wasn't really keen on the whole story. Brett says, yeah, the full helmet was a cooler looking, and I agree. I mean, even if he changed that up a little bit, maybe even a full face mask or something, you know? Jason Cruz says, yeah, I didn't like it either. And Legend Storm says, yeah, it's kind of crazy that he doesn't wear a full helmet. I mean, when you think about a combatant that he is, you would think he would need more protection than that. And, we got crooked police in this book as well. And here's the look. That's the look right there that Jason Todd looks like at this moment. So he's got just a red hoodie with the mask. He's got his mask over his eyes and whatnot, and so it was okay, nothing here that blew me away. This was just to introduce the new direction of Jason Todd. And you know what this reminded me of? This reminded me of, and I hate to say it, a new 52 direction. I don't like the way he looks. I like him better with a team. I liked his old look. Even if we had to have a couple of replacements for Bizarro and Artemis at this time to work with him, that would have been cooler than seeing him be the Outlaw, because they're changing this title to the Outlaw, and he's just going to be this vigilante guy, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Now, again, a lot of you people in the comments are saying it looks like 90s. It looks like something we've seen before. And, comics, they recycle things and ideas and all the time, and they try to do things that are twists and whatnot. But at the same time, this direction, not a huge fan of it. Now, should you pay for the book? Or should you slay this book? I would be an idiot to slay this cover. So I would never slay this or tear it up. Will I take it off my pull list? Will I slay it from my pull list? No, I'm not. I want to truly see the direction that they're going to go with Jason, to see how long this will last. I want to see if they update Artemis and Bizarro and what's going on with their story. So, in all honesty, I want to sit there and I'm going to say, pay for it, pay for the book, look at the journey, go along with Jason Todd and see what he goes through. And definitely pay for this particular book, even though this issue wasn't the greatest. Pay for that book. All right. So that was the second book that we talked about today, guys. So let's go on to number 3. All right. Third book we're talking about is Ba-Bam! Woo! Hot cover right here. I don't think I'm going to open this because I like this cover. I read this book and then I was like, okay, I'm not going to open it anymore. I want to appreciate the 11 people that are watching the video right now, or the live stream. 6 likes. Again, guys, hit that like button. Get this series rolling. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Right now, we're never going to slay this cover. slaying this book might be something a little bit different, but this particular issue wasn't necessarily a bad thing, right? This issue actually had a detailed story of the woman in this issue, the criminal mastermind here. We get to see where she came from. It was, I think, the governor's wife. We get to see where she came from, how she got married to her first husband, how she killed her first husband, how she killed her kids, and all that stuff. But besides that, the rest of the book I did not find entertaining at all. I don't like how Selina is like living with these other people. This, Frank, is Catwoman. This is issue 3. Okay. This is the Art Germ variant to this cover. So this is Selina Kyle here. So we actually get to see where this woman came from, how she killed her husband, how she killed her kids. And I was just like, holy cow, this is a ruthless bitch, right? And so, but besides that, like I said, I could care less about what was going on with Selina. She lives with these people. She fell out of a building, basically on the back of her neck, and then literally, like a couple hours later, she's just like out of a bathtub she's jumping from building to building again. Brett says, I've been digging this new Catwoman stuff. I'm glad you like it, Brett. I find the female villain very interesting in this issue, or in this series. But besides that, I'm not too much into it. The artwork is cool. It's got a different flair to it. I kind of dig it. But the overall series, I'm like, I don't know. And I wasn't going to buy issue 3 until I saw this cover. And when I saw this cover, I bought it and I read it for the hell of it. And it's making me want to pay for the book a little bit more because I want to find out more about the female enemy in this book, okay? Maybe I want to find out what's going on with Selina. Will she go back to Gotham and get out of this place? You know when she will go back to Gotham? Is when this book gets canceled. That's probably what will happen. So, I don't know. But nevertheless, cool cover. And if you want to find this cover, I say pay for the book. I'll leave it up to you if you want to slay it from your pull list, but it's okay at best. All right. Sorry I didn't show you the artwork in that one, guys, because I just didn't want to get my nasty fingerprints anymore on that book. All right. So the 4th book that we're going to talk about, and thank you 14 people watching right now. Guys, I appreciate it. 9 thumbs up. Again, keep giving those thumbs up. Give some love and support to this new series. All right. Oh, this is a good book. Champions. I was hoping this one got pulled out of the 10. So, Champions by Jim Zub has been actually a pretty decent series, okay? And this one talks about gun violence, all right? Now, I was very interested to see how this issue was going to tackle that subject because it's a very tough subject at this time with a lot of people. Now, what happened in the whole Douglas High School shooting? I moved here to Central Florida about 10 years ago, and I lived 5 minutes from that school pretty much my whole life. So that hit home for me when that whole situation happened, okay? And so that's why I was very anxious on picking this up and very interested to see what they had to offer here in Champions. Now, the artwork, let's talk about that here, is a beautiful looking book. It's very much improved. I love the coloring in here. I know people are kind of on the fence about Ironheart on the way she actually looks and whatnot. But overall, I think the book it looks really gorgeous, okay? Now, this book here opens up with Miles Morales, okay? They're putting together some community center, and Miles skips school for the day, okay? So what happens is Miles gets an alert on his phone. It's an emergency alert. And right away, he's like, no. He's like, I can't do this. I can't go. Okay. So what he goes, I got to go. He's like, I got to leave. And so the next thing we wind up finding out is school shooting. Okay. And we wind up finding out that Goldball, what is his name? I forgot his name. Well, he's the mutant that produces gold balls. Okay. He is the one that winds up getting shot. His name is Fabio. He winds up getting shot. Everyone is obviously devastated in the situation of what has happened. And what happens is that Miles Morales, Stay Puff says, "Sup, Mike? Been a while since I watched a Pay It or Slay It video." Well, welcome back, Stay Puff. I'm happy you are here. And Brett says, "I'm liking Champion stuff. Can't wait till they go to Weird World next issue, which will happen, I think, next." So, so what happens here is Miles is taking it very hard. He feels like it's his fault why this shooting happened, that he could have stopped everybody. Okay, and we get to see a drill that actually happens in the school on how people are taking it because they feel like, oh my God, what happens if this has truly, really happened to us? And Miles sees a guidance counselor and things like that. And then we see some really heartfelt moments here between him and Miss Marvel, and that was kind of cool too, Kamala. So what did I think about Champions? Champions overall, I thought it was good. I thought, however, and this could be me being just a cruel, I feel like this could be a book that this issue could have touched more, or could have been even more emotional than it has. Instead of it being Fabio that got hurt or shot, I thought it could have been Gank, or Ganky, or however you say his name. I thought that it could have been him, and that would have been really cool. It wouldn't be cool that he was hurt, but I think it could have even impacted Miles a lot more. So it would have been a much more emotional impact there. Or maybe even Miles being in this school and not being able to help everybody. That could have been even more emotional impact as well. And Stay Puff says, "I've been in and out watching your videos, going to try catch up watching some of them." Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So, yeah, I thought it could have been an more emotion, and touched on the subject a little bit more. But I know you don't want to go so far and cross the line and maybe offend people. So I can kind of understand that. This almost felt like I'm Miles Morales with great power comes great responsibility type of moment. And I almost felt like it was kind of like more like that than the whole gun violence thing. But nevertheless, this was a filler issue. This wanted to touch on the subject. That's what Champions is about. And I say, if you've been reading Champions, I say definitely pay for that book. Go out there, buy it. Hey, Tevia, how you doing? Purchase that book and check out Weird World, because that's where our heroes are going next. They're going to get in these cool new costumes and identities and things like that. So go out and pay for Champions. This was issue 24. Issue 25, the milestone issue, is the issue that comes out next. All right, so there we go. We talked about that one. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is our number 5 book. All right, the 5th book we're talking about today. We're going halfway through. I just did my trailer reaction to Captain Marvel. That's right, guys, Captain Marvel trailer did come out today. So if you have not seen it, go ahead, check it out. But don't check it out right now. Check it out after this video. All right, so the next book we're going to talk about, guys, is Superman versus the unstoppable Rogol Czar. This is issue 3. Price points at $3.99. Again, guys, appreciate you all that's watching and commenting. Really means a lot. Yeah, Superman I thought was really, really boring. That's what Tevia says. If you haven't given this video a thumbs up, please give it a thumbs up. And just remember, there are spoilers when I talk about some of these books, okay? Interesting cover here. I like the cover as we get to see Superman doing battle against Rogol Czar. Here, this is one of those books that has that new paper inside where it kind of reminds you of back in the 90s, but it's not, you know, I guess as cheap. It's a little bit thicker and more sturdier or whatnot. But this issue's artwork was really good. We have Ivan Rice, who does the actual pencils in this book. So I thought this book artistically looked very good. Livewire looks good. All the characters look good. Pencils look good. Just coloring is good. Great looking book here. Okay. So in this particular issue, we wound up seeing, I guess, how the Phantom Zone just basically wound up sucking up Earth. Okay, I think I don't know, we're in Star Labs or whatever the place is, but we see Earth being sucked up here, and it was an experiment that goes wrong, and it was rough, okay? And Superman spends most of the issue talking to these scientists and just saying, hey, how did, how did, you know, how'd this happen? We need to figure this out. We gotta get Earth back. What's happening here? So that's what happens. And then we wind up getting to see, we're trying not to spoil too much, we get to see how Batman and Flash and Martian Manhunter and all the other characters in this book are affected with the Phantom Zone collapsing in on Earth. And I thought that was a kind of cool moment. You can see Batman, he's like hovering over the toilet, and he's like, I don't know how much I can live. I'm Batman, but I can't do it, you know? So, kind of an interesting issue. But the thing that's misleading about this book is that there's no battle here. There's no battle whatsoever. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of exposition. There's a lot of deciding, things that are going on. What's his face? Rogol is another one that sits here and is talking to another guy that's trapped in the Phantom Zone about how they're going to make, how they're actually going to take advantage of this situation and destroy Earth and then free themselves and take over the galaxy. And so, all that stuff was kind of boring to me. Some okay character moments. But should you slay Superman? Isn't that a Bendis special? Lots of talking. Stay Puft says. Yeah, kind of is. That's him. He doesn't progress the story all that much. His stories are standstill. They stall a lot. You get to see a lot of scientific stuff, Frank Corvin says, gotta go pick up lunch. Dope video. See ya, Slayer. See ya, Frank. Thanks for watching, buddy. Hopefully you catch the rest later. He says his stories are pointless. I don't think Bendis' stories are pointless. I just think they just take a long time to tell, and that's the way it is when it comes to Bendis' stories. But it looks like the next issue we're going to see the battle. Didn't happen here. But do I say pay it or slay it? If you like Superman, you're never going to slay this book. If you like Bendis' writing, you're not going to slay this book. And I think even a casual Superman fan, are you going to slay this from your pull list? No, I don't think so. I think people are going to stick with it and see where this book actually goes. And I am not going to slay this book as of right now. It's going to stay on there, and we'll see where it goes. I've been reading Superman now for quite a while, so we'll see what happens. All right. So pay for that book, guys. Let's see what happens. Give Bendis a chance. It's his first story. All right. All right, next book we're going to talk about is, bam, Domino, issue 6. How many of you guys are reading Domino out there? Do you feel it's an underrated series? If you're reading it, give it a yay. If you're not, just say nay. And, this is a really good book, I felt. I think Gail Simone does a great job at writing the character. I feel that we get to see a history of the character and where she comes from. And the cool thing about this book is that this story arc is actually ending, and we're going to get another story arc that maybe dives further into her past. And that's what's so good about this issue, because we got to see where she actually comes from. Art is really solid in this book, guys. I love the facial expressions. And if people think that this is a next Harley Quinn book, or it's a Harley Quinn wannabe book, it's not that case at all. There is some humor in there, but it's not over the top. And again, it's a really solid story, diving deep into Domino's past and where she came from and who the people she grew up with. And I think it's a fun story. And again, you get the conclusion to this story arc, and we get to see the love and the bond that she has with her other characters in the issue. And again, by the time we get to the end of this book, we see that, we're going to get a new story arc going forward here. So this is a really solid book, guys. At the end of the day, I definitely say give this one a try. Pay for the book. Go out there. This is something different. If you like Gail Simone's writing, I think you're going to like this book. Again, the first story arc just concluded. You might be able to find the back issues on the rack, or you might be able to pick this up and trade the first story arc, because usually Marvel's pretty good at releasing their trades. So yeah, I say go out, pay for this book. This one's pretty good. There's not too many bad books this week, guys. Books are actually really solid this week, okay? All right. So let's talk about the next one, shall we? So the next book we're going to talk about is BAM! Whoa, Infinity Wars. Now again, these books are picked randomly. I shuffle up my pile and I just pick 10 books and I discuss them and I make a decision if you should pay for the book or if you should slay the book. And again, if that book could be really, really rough, you never know where you could get a slay. It could be a surprise. It's always a surprise. Infinity Wars. Okay, the book is actually $4.99, guys, but it is an exercise. It's not jipping you of story. It's not a cheap ass story, or it gives you a backup story or anything like that. This is a pretty solid story up until this point. We wind up getting a Gamora. Yeah, it's $5, but it's like 40 pages, Tevia, so it's definitely worth it. Here we get to see Deodato Jr., who does the artwork in the story. I think his art is really well done. It's a good book. We get to see Gamora hold all the Infinity Stones at this point, which I think is really neat because she doesn't hold them in a gauntlet. She actually has them around her head. They spin around her brain. How does that even happen? I don't know how you do that. If Thanos couldn't even contain them in his hand, how does Gamora hold them around her brain? That's just weird. But this issue was interesting because we get to see Loki, how he's trying to, I guess, basically con Gamora and going into this world, okay, to uncover all these secrets behind this land, and I forgot exactly what it's called. And Gamora is just like, I really don't want to do this. I don't want to be used or whatnot. And what happens is she feels like, she kind of takes place of her father's footsteps in this issue. And she kind of sits there and creates a new world. So her father, right, snapped his fingers and erased half the Earth's population. So in this world, to fulfill the Soul Stone, she basically conjures up Warp World, okay, and takes all the people and combine them into each other, okay, and inserts them into the Soul Stone, and that's including the superheroes. So that's how you wind up getting all these mashup books, all these tie-in books. It's explained in this issue, and we get the whole world again that's together here, that's coming together. You get to see her conjure all that up, and we get to see a little bit of Warp World that was created literally minutes ago, and you get to see the first appearance of Steven Rogers as Captain Strange or whatever he is, and you get to see the other version of Arachnite, who's Moon Knight and Spider-Man. That's mashed up as one, and then you get to see all the other characters in here as well. So what this book actually does is it creates a new world so you, the fans, can go out there and buy all the latest issues of your favorite mashup characters, which is Iron Hammer, Soldier Supreme, and some of all the other characters out there. So that's what this book did. It went to go push out all those mashup characters. Should you slay this book? No. I think this overall story has been a great story. I definitely say pay this book. It says, why combine Spider-Man with Moon Knight? Why not? He just happened to be right next to Moon Knight at that moment when she did that. And this will be an interesting story. I want to see what Moon or Spider Knight actually is. But if you're vested into this book at this point, after reading 3 issues, I say pay for the book. Don't slay it. It's been a solid Marvel event, even though I felt like maybe this one was a little bit fillerish, because all Gamora really does is create this new warp world for all the readers out there to go check out. All right. Next. What is the next book we're going to talk about? How many do we have left? We have 3 books left. All right. So number 8. And Tevia says, personally, I would love combined Spider-Man with Sideways. Okay, but he's in DC. This is Marvel. Stay Puff says, I got to go back to work now. Good to chat a little later. All right, thank you, Stay Puff. All right, next book we're talking about, guys, is Detective Comics. This is 988. This is that Virgin cover. Really nice looking book here. This was actually the first issue that I picked up with Detective Comics in a while because I wanted to see Bruce do something else besides kind of, I guess, mope around over Selina Kyle. We haven't got a very solid story from Batman in like 3 issues. I mean, they're okay, but they're not anything great. Batman's not doing any battles really. He's just, he's angry, And in this issue, we get to see Batman go back to the way we like him, right? He's a detective. He's got to solve problems. Again, this book has that new interior paper, which I don't know what warrants a book to get that paper, but the artwork overall is solid in this book. It's really good, and you get to see him don that costume. This is one of the first full issues that has that whole costume on there. He looks really good. It's great to see him interact with Alfred in the issue. I thought that was a lot of fun. And the cool thing is in this issue is this guy winds up dying. Eric says, Detective is one book I drop and add often, so it's an on and off again type of book for you. So it's a pay it or slay it for you. So what happens is he has to go investigate this guy. And so Alfred tries to dig up some dirt on this guy, and we find out that this guy is very much more important than what it looks. But in the time that he tries to do some investigating, we wind up seeing Batman come across Firefly in this issue. And you're like, oh, dude. And so there's some awesome panels and great scenes in this book. And not only does he go against female Firefly, but he goes against a male Firefly in the book. And the action scenes are just absolutely drop dead, like I said, gorgeous in this book. And it was just a lot of fun. It was great to see Batman just be Batman again. And in this issue, don't get me wrong, James Robinson actually shows Batman how he is not over Selina Kyle, how he's angry, but he feels like he has to go out in the field and kind of continue things again. So I appreciated what he did in this issue. But by the time we get to the end of this issue, we find out that the guy that was responsible, hey Peter, what's up, buddy? Thanks for watching. We find out that the guy who was responsible for that died is responsible for the rise of Cobra. I don't know who Cobra is in Detective Comics, so if you guys in the comments want to sit there and say who they are, feel free. Again, my history is not so much in DC Comics, it's more in Marvel. So if you want to put some description here in the chat, go ahead. I appreciate you guys all watching. There's 11 likes right now. If you haven't thumbs up this video yet, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And again, guys, thank you so much for watching. But when it comes to Detective Comics, guys, after reading this issue, I say pay for the book. This was an awesome read. And even if you wanted to slay it, I don't think it would be a good time to do it because we're approaching issue 1000 and everybody and their mother is going to get issue 1000. Can you imagine the variant covers that come out for this particular issue or for the 1000th issue? I think it's going to be crazy. So, yeah, go out, pay for the book, guys. Really good book. All right, well, let's move on. We're moving on to the 9th book we're talking about today. And the 9th book is, bam, what is this? Supergirl, issue 22. This was not as good, guys, as last issue. I love the moments between Superman and Supergirl and how he sent Crypto with her. And it was just some touching moments there. And Tevia says they're a terrorist organization with the DC universe. And it kind of sounds like Cobra and G.I. Joe. But anyway, here's my cover that I wound up picking up for Supergirl, Crypto, and Supergirl in there. They actually wind up getting lost in space, or they wind up, their ship blows up in space, and they don't have much oxygen. The interior artwork is okay. It's not my favorite artwork, but I do like the moments that Crypto is in this book with Kara. It just makes it better, you know. But we wind up finding out that she goes to the Green Lanterns She goes to Mogo and she tries to find some answers out about what happens with the big baddie and Superman and whatnot. And the next thing we see is that they take her in. She starts doing some research. Brett says, yeah, I was hoping Supergirl was going to get a lot better than it has been. And last issue did, and this issue wasn't so solid. But we wind up finding out she's doing research on that whole axe. We find out that it's like a transformer. It transforms from a big axe to a small axe. And you're just like, okay. And then at night, the Green Lanterns say, don't do things that you're not supposed to do. And what does Kara do? She winds up somehow changing into this black costume. I don't remember. When did she get the black costume? Was it the last issue? I don't know. The black and red diaper costume, whatever it is. She just decides to change it. You just see her. She happened to have it with her. She wears it as a cloak. And then the next thing you see, she has this axe. And it becomes a big axe. And she can't control it. And the Lanterns think she's a threat. And it just becomes this crazy, ongoing, drawn-out battle with this whole axe thing. And I'm just like, what the hell is this? I'm like, what's happening, And then she winds up getting sucked out until she talks to the Guardian that was working with Rogozar or whatever the hell his name was. This was a disappointment. This really was. Why isn't Superman investigating with Kara Supergirl? Well, Superman has to stay on Earth. There's no other Kryptonians left on Earth, so he's got to stay there and watch Earth. So it makes sense. And she's the one that wanted answers. He didn't want to go there because he was already in the Phantom Zone. So that's why she went out into space, Tevia. But nevertheless, after reading this issue, will I continue this one? Peter says cover is nice, though. It is nice cover. Should I slay it? I'm not going to slay it from the pull list. I'm not going to slay it physically. I'm going to continue to read the story arc and see how it progresses the character a little bit more, and then I'll make my decision going forward. So stay tuned if this book actually gets slayed. All right, so now we talk about our 10th book of the day. And maybe I'll do a bonus book. We'll see what happens. Okay. 10th book of the day is, bam, Venom First Host Issue 3. Eric says, like action, I hope they do covers for each decade. Oh, okay. So he's talking about Detective Comics, how they did a decade of issue for each decade. Yeah, that was kind of cool. The thing is that they were $10 a piece, and they were pricey. And when you have like 20 covers, that becomes very pricey. But Venom the First Host, this is issue 3. This was another solid book. Did you guys read this book? Just let me know yes or no, because there's going to be spoilers here for this one, because Eddie Brock dons a new suit, guys. He dons a new suit, and I'm going to show you what that suit looks like. So if you don't mind some spoilers here, I'm going to show you that going forward. Mark Bagley does the artwork. Mike Costa does the writing in this issue. This miniseries has been really good, okay? We get to see the Kree warrior kidnap Eddie's Venom symbiote. And all that Venom is left is his actual baby spawn that he has, okay? So what happens is he's sitting there mourning. He doesn't have that... Tevi goes, never read it, and I personally really don't care. So all he has is that baby spawn in his head and his hands, and he doesn't have the thoughts of Venom going into his brain. So he is definitely depressed at the moment. And then the next thing you wind up seeing is you see what you think is Liz Allen, but it's not. It's the Skrull that's actually that winds up actually helping Eddie Brock in this issue. Okay, she gives the story of who the Kree person actually is, what he did with the symbiote, how he manipulated it, how he actually... sorry about that, guys. Just got kicked out for a second. Marvel is overdoing it with Venom. I think this week's Amazing Spider-Man annual was a Venom story, too. I agree. They are doing a overabundance of Venom books. I just wish this story continued before Donny Gates took over the series. But nevertheless, we wind up getting to see this Skrull the scroll tell everybody about what happened with the Empire, and that if this Kree warrior can actually end the scroll race by releasing this deadly virus on them. Okay, so that was pretty cool. And the scroll, the Princess Scroll, the scroll, whatever you want to call it, scroll female, sits there and tells Brock that he can't go, and Brock has to figure out a way to go. So we find out that the Spawn symbiote can actually communicate with Eddie Brock. And so he's like, oh, you can communicate with me. And he goes, well, I feel like I'm not ready. And the baby Spawn is like, but we don't have a choice. We have to rescue, the other symbiotes. So he goes on and he starts to don or take shape, take form of what the new symbiote is going to be. We don't have an actual name for it, but this is the way the new symbiote looks on Eddie Brock as of right now. And you're like, wow, that's weird. It's very alien-like. And we find out that it has pheromones to manipulate people. And it can see different things. So it has different powers than Eddie's normal symbiotes. Okay? And it does have a smile as well. We get to see that right here, too. Story was a bit confusing, but Bagley's artwork is awesome. But you see his smile right there. That's what Peter said about this book. And we get to see again that the Kree warrior has the virus that's going to kill all the Skrulls. So, but I thought it was kind of interesting. I thought it was cool. It was cool to see this new symbiote, what it can and can't do. You get to learn its powers and stuff like that. So this issue, this goes up to 5, and this comes out every single week. So again, if you're vested in this book, you have 3 issues of it already. Why not just see it out? So again, I'm not going to slay this book from my pull list or slay it physically. So I say pay for this book, pick it up, finish the story, hang in there, see what happens, guys. So that's Venom, the First Host. And that was your 10th book. So we'll do one bonus book today, and we'll see which book out of the ones that I read that I'm going to talk about. So here we go. I have like 6 books left from the mystery pile. So which book am I going to pick? Here we go. Last book. Last and final book of the day. I appreciate you guys all watching. Thank you for the thumbs up. If you just tuned in, if you want to give the video a thumbs up, again, thank you so much. All right. So the book that we're going to talk about is, bam. Oh! Uh-oh. We might have a contender, everybody, for the worst book. Will I slay this book? Oh, let's find out. Zdarsky, Charles Bachelotto. Artwork, atrocious. Okay? This is really, really bad. Debbie says, yay, slay it. Really bad artwork. So the last issue, I really liked. Okay? It had this heartfelt story with Peter bringing Sandman to the beach because he was dying. He was physically falling apart. He couldn't hold himself together. It was a very emotional moment. These two had lots of history with each other. And so he takes him out of the hospital, brings him to the beach. We see him fall apart. And then in this issue, all that heartfelt warmth stuff, that shit just went out the window in this book. Okay? Because somehow, some way, it goes into Zdarsky's crazy story about when he went back into the past and it screwed up the future for Sandman, how he can't hold himself together, so his body dies, and his future self of Sandman comes back from Lord knows where, like he's just this sand monster that just goes around everywhere. And you know how freaking Spider-Man battles him? He becomes some kind of spider sand guy. Like, what happens there? Okay, so there's Sandman right there. Okay, and then there's Spider Sandman. How does he do that? Did the Fantastic Four help him do that? And they start fighting each other. And it's just like, how could this... What's going on? Like, what's the point of this book? Look, he's got his spider face. Look at that. I'm like, oh my god, this book is absolutely atrocious. He tries to trap him in water, and he can't do that because he's like, oh, you figured out how I can. It was like just another version. It was, guys, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. And then like Spider-Man takes a beating at the end, and he's wearing like these pink pajamas and a hospital gown or whatever it is. You know, Sandman breaks through the glass, and he's just like, oh, he's like, you know, thanks for saving me. And now is this the way Sandman is going to be in continuity? Are we not going to get the Sandman that we once had? And like, doesn't this make a mess in the hospital room? Like, that's just a mess. Yep. Goodbye. First one of the series. It's been slayed. It's gone. It's not in the pull list. It's not slayed from the pull list. It's slayed from the pull list. It's slayed physically. It's gone. It's no more. That's a 0-star book for me. That is a 0-star book. Artwork was bad. Story was horrible. It was a horrible follow-up to a heartfelt story that actually meant something. The art was bad in the last issue, okay? But the story made up for it. You actually overlooked it, and you felt bad for Sandman. You had passion for Spider-Man. And this book just threw all that out the window, and this was the worst issue from the series by far. And this just shows that Zdarsky is done writing Spectacular Spider-Man. You have nothing better else to come up with, but to come up with a spectacular Spider-Man, Sandman from the future. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. That just happened to be the last book we picked up. And that was the only book that was slayed for the day. And hopefully that will be the only book I slay for the next month. So, there you guys have it. There were the 10 books, plus bonus one that got slayed. And guys, hopefully you enjoyed this week's episode of Pay It or Slay It. This was episode 2. I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Look for this video to happen every Tuesday around 12 p.m. That's when this is going to be offered to you. This is a lot of fun. I love talking about the books with you guys and making a decision if you should pay it or slay it. And again, most of it is slay it from your pull list, not actually physically slaying all the books. But it's just a lot of fun to talk with all you guys and getting the community together. So guys, until that next comic book review, again, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that notification button. And guys, I'll see you in that next comic book review. See you soon, guys. Bye.